Okay, welcome back. Hope you had a good break, did some good networking. I am thrilled to introduce to you our next speaker, Torey Maerz. Torey is a creator, inventor, and builder of technology. He's a seasoned entrepreneur. He spent more than a decade as a leader in innovation before founding Rocket Referrals. How many of you have ever really enjoyed a software or a product so much that you referred it to a friend or a colleague? Just show of hands. Okay. And how many of you were thanked for that referral by the company itself? Yeah. So I think Torey recognized that this was a real opportunity, and I'll let him speak to what Rocket Referrals really does, but I will tell you that as an English major, I appreciate that it alliterates Rocket Referrals. Torey's passion is developing software that is intuitive, simple, and effective. If you've ever logged into Rocket Referrals, I think that the product would speak for itself. Everybody, welcome Torey Maerz to the stage.
They must know that I like to move around because they hooked me up with one of these awesome mics. Presentation, though. All right, cool. I actually had a hard time titling this one, so I just left it. Actually, I thought maybe bootstrapping in Des Moines or 10 bootstrapping lessons I've learned, maybe ways to be profitable without investors, or we're going to win so much we're going to get tired of winning. And, you know, I kind of settled with this one. It basically is just to be a doer, because that's what you have to do when you're bootstrapping. Actually, I just got a really good idea. This is going to get kind of weird, though. How many doers do we have here? I want all my doers to stand up. Come on. I know you just had a break. I want you to stand up. I've always wanted to do this, quite honestly. This is awesome. Now I want you to go like this. I'm a doer! There we go. Man, that felt good. All right. Go ahead and have a seat. Thank you. Man, now I got some energy. I don't need all this coffee. All right. So, how many have heard of Rocket Referrals before? I thought I'd spend just a couple seconds telling you a little bit about what we do. Basically, what we do is we help companies make more money. And we do that by getting their customers to talk to other people about their great company. And we get them to stay longer and buy more product. The best thing is when companies who are using Rocket Referrals, they don't have to worry about how they're communicating with their customers. All they have to really do is focus on doing what they do best, right? That's selling their product. And we automate all of the things around that. But what I'm really here to talk about is bootstrapping a company. And as we went through building Rocket Referrals, we learned a lot of things. You know, we had a lot of failures. We had some successes. And that's what I want to share. I'm going to share a lot of stories today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we went through building Rocket Referrals. You know, in 2013, we had somewhere like, I could count the number of customers on my hands. And today, we have over 6,000 people using Rocket Referrals from over 1,500 different companies. And, you know, we did so without a dime of an investor's money. And a lot of what you're going to hear about today is capital raises and things like that, which I think are great. But what's really cool about this is you can learn from bootstrap companies as well. If you're going to do some of the things that we're doing, it's a lot of what I'm going to talk about is how to run your business lean, how to, you know, make decisions to help you grow based on, you know, or reinvest profits in growth and things like that anybody can use, whether you're raising money, whether you don't have a dime, you know, or whatever your situation is. So let's get the first one out of the way. This is the obvious one, right? When you're bootstrapped, I think I had to make sure my mic isn't falling off my ear here, sorry. When you're bootstrapped, you really have to make sure you're spending money on the right thing. So what I like to tell people is spend money on growth, not Lambos. It's a really important thing to learn. So what exactly are we talking about here? I hear a lot of stories from startups where they feel like, hey, I have a company, first thing, need to go get a logo, need to get t-shirts, need to get stickers to hand out to all my friends. Maybe I'll throw some buttons in there, some bumper stickers, whatever it is. All of that swag, it's not important. In fact, my brother and I, when we built Rocket Referrals, we thought, you know what? We're not going to spend a dime on shirts like these until we have enough money that we can pay ourselves and pay our mortgage. And so this shirt means that I can actually pay my mortgage, which is awesome because you need a house. The other thing that we did that was a little bit different is, we saw a lot of startups saying, hey, we just launched our product. Let's have a party. Let's go spend thousands of dollars on this because, I don't know, actually, they didn't have a good reason. But we skipped the launch party. Those things weren't important to us. We thought, instead of spending 3 weeks planning a party where we can get all of our friends to celebrate, let's go spend 3 weeks talking to customers and figuring out how we can sell more. Actually, I'm going to go to the next slide. Another thing that we did to save a little bit of money is we negotiated a really low rate on the rent of the office we went into by saying, we'll do all of the tenant improvements. And so we got my dad up here, came and helped us build a wall. Carl and I literally had sledgehammers and all the things. That's my daughter in the upper left-hand corner. She helped me put in the floor. And that's me just a few weeks ago with a vacuum pack on because we decided that we'd save money and clean the office that we just moved into ourselves. And actually, that's Carl and I in the middle after we just cut out a few windows in our new office that we literally moved into Monday. So that was a fun adventure. When we first started, we're like, hey, we need to tell people about us. What do we do? And we thought, well, it's kind of expensive to run all these direct mail campaigns, and you have to put all this stuff together. And so we thought, well, what can we do? And we went out to Uline and bought some of these white boxes, and then we used some of our technology to put these handwritten cards on there, and we wrote letters to all kinds of different insurance agents in Des Moines. And that's my coffee table in my living room where we put all of these things together. My point is, you don't need big, fancy, companies and things to do these when you're first starting. You can do this stuff out of your living room. And when people got these in the mail, they were, talking to us and they're like, oh my God, who put that campaign together for you? I've never seen anything like that. The interesting thing about that is when you're doing things in your living room and you have all the freedom to make it work the way that you want to, you don't have to live by the constraints of what these big companies can do, right? You go into a big marketing, or distribution company and they're like, well, this is what we can do. Pick one. Oh, you only want to do 50? Well, then, okay, you can only do these if you're not buying 1 billion, right? So these things work. And what you can do, applying this outside of the bootstrapped world, right? Even if you have $1 billion to go to those big companies, run a small test like this. These things work. And in fact, this campaign we ran back in 2014, it's called The Boxes around our office. And anytime that we're thinking about something and we want to test it out first, we'll just say, the boxes worked, right? So everybody remembers this campaign. When we first started, you probably haven't heard a lot about Rocket Referrals many years ago because we were very quiet. We didn't do a lot in the community because we felt it was more important to get out in front of our customers. I'm surprised Mike convinced me to come up here and give this talk, quite honestly, because how many of you are using Rocket Referrals? Hopefully, we can get some of you guys in the future, but that's not why I'm doing this, right? So we thought, well, we need to get our name out there somewhere. And my brother Carl is a genius writer. I really love all of the content that he's writing for us. And it's been an amazing boost for us because what we can do is When we first started, we went out and we wrote a book. It was called The Agent's Guide to Referrals, and we put it on Amazon, and all of a sudden people started buying it. And they're like, wow, these guys really know what they're talking about. These Rocket Referrals guys know how to get referrals. And the neat thing about our book is we wrote it to really support our product. And people read it, and they're like, man, I need software to do this. Where is that? Well, that's Rocket Referrals, right? Then we started partnering with other companies to write books. And we did that because we wanted to have them distribute that content to their network. Right? So we were writing books, they had the audience, they distributed the books out to their audience, and those were our customers. These campaigns were nothing but time for us. They didn't cost really any money except a lot of nights writing content. The other thing that we did, this is a really great way to save some money, is find out where your customers read content. Go to those places and give them content. And I promise you they will take it because everybody is looking to add content. And so that's what we did. Some of the most well-known articles and magazines and things in the insurance industry we have columns in them or, that type of thing. So there's a lot of ways to save money and spend money on growth rather than Lambos. The next thing that we learned is revenue is worth at least 10 times an investor's dollars. And, a really easy way to think about this is, when you're valuing startups or, not startups or, service companies or whatever it is, they're always saying, well, it's worth X time your recurring revenue, right? Well, right there it says every dollar of recurring revenue I get, it's worth X time investor dollars. And so my brother and I were thinking, why aren't we getting revenue? In fact, about 12 months into Rocket Referrals after we built it, we had customers, we had revenue, we had positive feedback. We read all of the great stories about these companies that we saw as successful because they got capital raises and things like that. And we thought, we should go do that. We should go out and raise some money because that's what you do when you're a startup, right? And so we did that. And it takes a lot of time. How many people in here have gone through that process of trying to raise money? A lot of hands raised. And so, we didn't even make it all the way through. And I can imagine, how much time it takes, plans and strategy and all this kind of things that you have to do. The funny thing about that is we knew all of the strategy and plans that we were going to do, but we had to put it in all these documents and projections and all this kind of stuff. And it took a lot of time, and what we found out is it took time away from customers. We actually started to lose customers, and we were getting different feedback than what we were before because we were just a few people. Of course, we needed the money to get people and things like that so that we could grow, or we thought we did. But what happened is we started losing touch with our customers, and when that happens, you could potentially fail and start going down the wrong path. So we thought, hey, revenue is worth a lot more than investor dollars. So instead of trying to get investors, let's treat our customers like investors. We said every time we got a customer, they were investing in our company. And in fact, even when we talked with our prospects, we say, look, every dollar you pay us gets reinvested to make the product better. And they love that, right? And that's how we treat all of the revenue that we get today. I think the main thing to take there is that just remember that you have to really focus on getting revenue because that is a heck of a lot more valuable than the dollars that revenue investors give you. So this slide is maybe my favorite one, and I think if there's anything to take away from my talk, it's this one. Don't create ideas, solve problems. I don't think a company is based off of an idea, okay? A lot of people have ideas. I've had ideas in past. Rocket Referrals isn't my first startup. I've done a lot of other things. It's some great idea that I have, and I think, wow, this is a great idea. I love it. Let me build something. And then I build it, and then I go and try and sell it, and that doesn't work because no one wants to buy an idea. People want to buy a solution to a problem they have. And that's very, very important. So when you're talking about your company or your product, are you saying what your product does? Or are you talking about the problem that it solves? Or what it can bring to the table for someone else? You know, when I told you about what we do at Rocket Referrals, hopefully what you heard was, hey, I'm a company, I can make more money by using their product. And I don't have to worry about communicating with my customers because that's what they do. Quite honestly, it doesn't really matter how we do it. The fact that it gets done is the most important thing. There's so much magic behind it. I don't need to explain the magic, it just works. And that's what we want people to know. In fact, I want to tell a little bit of a story here of how we started Rocket Referrals. This one statement is something that really is what Rocket Referrals is based on. We didn't start by saying, hey, Rocket Referrals is going to be an automated communication platform that's going to automate thank you cards and referrals and net promoter scores and surveys and testimonials and online reviews and all that kind of stuff. We didn't say that and then build it, right? What we did is we said, we don't need an idea. What we need are customers. So who do we want our customers to be? Well, we're in Des Moines, insurance capital of the world, fantastic place for insurance. I came from insurance. I know a lot of people. I thought, man, maybe I could go talk to some of these people, see what problems they have. So I didn't do that because I was bootstrapped, right? Like, I just did that because I'm trying to solve a problem. I go out and talk to lots of different insurance agents, actually. We went straight to agents. And we just sat back and we listened to all of their problems. Or we listened to how they do things and started to figure out what problems they might have, which was a lot of fun. There's a lot of problems in insurance. So many that I kind of had to pick which one to solve. Some of them, if you solve them, I kind of realized that you're not going to be able to sell them, which I have a slide that I'm going to get to talk about that. But I had to pick something that I could solve too, right? Especially because I knew that I had to do something that I have the ability to do. There's a lot of problems out there that I might not be able to actually solve, or at least effectively in a period of time, which at the time, obviously, I didn't have any money, and I always thought I needed to, do something that I could actually do, so I didn't have to get someone else's help. So I talked with my brother a lot about all of the different things that we saw as we were interviewing, and we're like, man, these guys have a really hard time communicating with people, and they don't understand how much they're missing out of if they were to communicate with them in a better way. And so that's really where Rocket Referrals came from, is we thought, hey, there's this problem. Now, what's an idea to solve that problem, right? So it started with a problem, and then, we had ideas to actually create it. So from there, don't sell what you build what you sell. What I'm saying here is, I think a lot of people know that, you may have heard the build it and they will come, and that's not a really good way to do things. But why do people still do it? Why are we still building things before we're selling them? It's mind-boggling to me. Because, and by building, I don't mean the programming aspect of it. I mean everything that goes along with it. The design, the testing, all of the stuff. There's so much that goes into building that it's so expensive. And then guess what happens? You go to try and sell it, and you get nothing. Because you might have built something that people aren't going to buy. Like I said before, I saw a lot of problems in insurance, but not a lot of them were they willing to pay money for, because they were just easy enough for them to fix themselves or whatever it was. So what we did, instead of building Rocket Referrals and then trying selling it, we sold it before we built it. One of the main reasons I did that is because I wasn't a salesperson, but I thought, if I'm going to start a company, I better learn how to sell something. And so, let's go try it. Let's be a doer. Let's go do this. Don't be a don'ter, right? So we went out and sold this. You remember all those people I went to get that feedback from? They didn't know that I was going to come back a month later and try and sell them something, which some of them kind of chuckled at that a little bit. But you know what? I started to get real checks. People were paying me to solve this problem before I even had the thing built to solve the problem. That is validation. I had customers before I had a product, and that made me feel really good, right? So before we ever built anything, we had revenue, right? That was an amazing thing for us. And we used the money to fund the development of the product. So again, my customers are my investors. But as you go through that process, it's really important to know your clients better than they know themselves. So often your customers are in the daily grind and they're doing things and they have all these distractions. And if I just went into there and listened to them about what they said they wanted, then it would have been, I don't even know what kind of product I have if I just built what people asked for. It would be like big red flashing buttons here and things that do this and that, and it would be nuts, right? So what we did is, this is really awesome. I love this idea. We put together a founding member program for Rocket Referrals, and this is what you would buy into when I went back to you and sold this idea. And as part of a founding member, what you got is for us to work outside of your office. I'm thinking, well, I don't have office space. I need some office space. Where can I work? Oh, I can work right out of my agent's. Hey, agent, I have this thing called a founding member program that lets me work outside of your office. All I need is Wi-Fi and, things like that. And guess what you get? You get direct access to me and feedback into the product, so once it's done, you get exactly what you want. And while I'm in the office, what I'm doing is I'm listening to what how they're talking to their customers. I'm hearing the feedback that they get from them. I'm listening to the complaints that their employees have inside of the office. I'm listening to how many times the phone rings, when they go to lunch, when they come in, when they leave, how much paper do they print? Are they writing their own cards? How do they do mailings? And all of these things are sort of like sub-problems. It's okay, we knew these guys had a hard time communicating with people and that they weren't doing it, but why? And those things are what we found out through this pilot founding member program. And so we got free office space. Some of their internet wasn't very good, but that's okay. The next thing that I knew was really important was to know who you are. So if you don't know who you are and what you can do, then you end up trying to solve problems that you can't solve. And then you're in the hunt for resources that are really expensive, that you can't afford, or just not accessible. So that can be a problem that causes people to start raising money or doing this or that, and then they start going down all kinds of crazy paths. And so before we had even thought about what it was we were going to build, we came up with 3 core beliefs. We had these before we had a name of our company. And we said that the best software fits perfectly into real life. We knew that we were going to create software. And we knew that it needed to work flawlessly in real life. One of the things that we found inside of our research is that when people have to make changes to their life to use your product, it's gonna fail. You can't ask people to change. You can get people to change. You can't let them know that they're changing. Every business can have great software. There's a lot of really great software out there that's also really expensive. There's some really expensive, crappy software too, though. But I want to make great software affordable, and I want to make it for great companies. And that goes to our last thing, and that is there's greatness in everyone. We want to build software that helps people show their greatness. And these three beliefs drove every feature we have, every design we have, and every customer that we talk to. So, it's really important for you to think about those things. Call it a mission statement, call it core competency, call it whatever the heck you want to, I don't care. Just remember who you are. We did it as 3 beliefs. You should do it as something. And hopefully you can make it something that's in plain English that people can understand and not based off of numbers and stats and this and that, because at the end of the day, employees don't really care. They want to know what you're going for. What direction are we going and why are we going that direction? Just make it simple. So, we know what problem we have. We know who we are, we know who our customers are, we know we want to do it cheap, and all of those other things. Last thing is to do what hasn't been done. We need attention, right? You need to get attention. So often, people are looking for solutions to problems on Google. How to do X. Copy, paste. It's probably not cool, because if you can find a solution to your problem on Google, it's probably something someone else is going to research and do anyway. You need to solve problems that are really hard to solve, because those are the ones that people are going to pay for, because it's easier for them to pay you than to solve it. That's a really, it maybe makes plain, simple, but when you feel yourself going down the hard path, that's a good thing. Things to look for is when your customers are saying, man, that's impossible. You guys can't do that. You can't do this. You can't do that. I can't even tell you how many times we heard the words, you guys can't do that, because it's a lot. And guess what? We did it every single time. It was not easy, but we did it. And those things stand out. Our platform's integrated with all of the software systems that insurance agents didn't think that we could integrate with. They're like, wow, my data is so crappy, it's going to go into your system and it's not going to work. And I'll be like, no, don't worry. We have all kinds of advanced algorithms to clean your data and make this, blah, 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 blah. Just trust me, put your data in and it will work. And they're like, oh my God, how'd you do that? It's magic. I'm like, exactly. It's magic. So, next slide. All right. Now we're solving all the hard problems, and we need to find people to buy the stuff, right? I've kind of run out of my pilot members that told me they were going to buy it, and I'm like, well, if I want to grow, I think I better get some more than 8 people. So where am I going to get them? Oh, insuranceagentlist.com. Yeah, not a good idea. If you think that you can go out and buy leads, I'm sorry. I hope there's not any lead generating, like leadless companies in here I'm offending. I'm sure you work great for your industries. For us, though, it's not a really good idea. Let me tell you the problem with this, and maybe there's a time for that. But for us, we had to have a connection with our customers. Things had to be in our voice, right? We're generating all of this content and we're telling our story and who we are and that type of thing. And it's so very important for us to make sure that we're being heard the way that is consistent with the product that we're putting out, right? So some of the ways that we've had success in getting our own leads is connecting with associations that our customers are part of, or maybe different user groups if they use a specific software that we integrate with. And we'll go out to those associations and those user groups and we'll say, hey guys, we have some really great content we want to share with your customers about how to generate more referrals. Would you like to share it? We'll give it to you for free. In fact, we'll even come talk at your next conference at no cost. And they're very happy to let us do that. I have been flown all around the country to talk to people about how to generate more referral business. And I've stayed at some really great hotels at no cost. It's a fantastic, fun time. And all the while, what I'm doing is getting leads the whole time. I collected this many business cards. And the best thing about what we do is never feel like you're selling. You know, if you do this the right way, if you go through the process and you really do have a problem that people are willing to pay for, then it's awesome to talk to this dude and be like, man, I totally understand. Trust me, I can help you. You know, and you're going to feel like you're helping these people and you're not selling. And then the leads just start flowing because everybody starts talking about you and how you're helping. And that's what you want. That's what we teach our customers to do. If you feel like you're selling something, then that's a problem. Maybe one of the most important things I think for a bootstrapped company is to think about when you're building your business and how you develop your software and the people that you hire. You're not going to be a small company forever. You're going to grow. You want to grow. If you want to be a big company, act like a big company. Okay? Build software that scales, right? So for us, we're a tech company. We built everything on AWS. And we did that because we saw that we can scale over time. It's not necessarily the platform that matters, but it's how you use that platform, right? As we get customers, I can literally hit a button and my servers, they get bigger automatically and all kinds of fun stuff, so I can scale as traffic goes up. A really interesting story. So from a support standpoint, you also have to be able to scale, right? So there's been months where we've had more demos and sales set up that we could, we had people waiting a month to get a demo. And that was a problem for us because, then I had someone willing to pay for the product, but they couldn't sign up for an entire month. And that they cool off over that period of time. So we started to implement this system where basically anybody in the company can demo somebody, and we shortened that amount of time down to like a week or so. It can get a little crazy depending on how many we have, but also from a customer support perspective. When we first started, we had thought maybe a customer support person could manage somewhere between 50 and 100 accounts, and I realized very quickly that I can be a lot more profitable if I have fewer support people, and to do that, I need to have software that they can use to support their customers better. So the software that we make isn't always just for our customers, right? But we're also making software for our employees to better manage their accounts. In an interesting way, we start to generate our own problems as we scale. And it's easier for us to build software to solve those solutions than to go out and buy it, quite honestly. And so we build things that help our support people monitor accounts. So every account, has a process that it's going through every minute or so, and it's saying, is this an alert? Does it have this problem? Does it have this problem, or whatever? And then the person that supports that gets a message that says, hey, this company hasn't imported in a week. You should give them a call, because what we know is if you don't import for several weeks, eventually you're going to cancel. And that helps us keep up on those types of things. So all of that software that we build to help us manage accounts is really built so that we can grow, right? If I'm not paying money for a support person, then I can pay money for developers to help me build new products. I can spend money on marketing campaigns that help us, talk to more people, and all kinds of things like that. I had another idea on this one too. Let me think. I think the only other thing I was going to say is there's some, I think, mixed things I've read about this, or that other people are saying, hey, when you have a company that has scale problems and you can solve it with people, that's not really a problem because you can just get people to do it. Whoever said that has no idea how expensive salaries are, because they're expensive and you pay a lot of taxes. So that's a problem when you're bootstrapped. But yeah, maybe it's a problem for everybody, right? When you can build your business to grow and be efficient, invest in software that helps you be efficient, it pays off a lot. So anyway, like I said before, we thought a support person could do 50 to 80 accounts before. We've built a lot of software. They can do several hundred now, which is awesome because I can cut my support staff in half. I'm not cutting my support staff in half. I don't have to hire that many people. Couple more slides, and then I'm done. This one's actually the hardest thing to do. Focus like you've never focused before. I have to remind my people a lot that we have a product that we sold to lots and lots of people, and that product is great as it is. Sometimes we get loud customers that say, hey, you need to be able to do this, and you need to do this, and this, and this, and they're the oh my God, I'm not going to buy this if it doesn't use this or do this part, and I'm like, oh my God, well, go find someone else. But they want the sales, right? The problem is when you're selling to your loud customers, you're going to start getting more loud customers. Loud customers are really expensive because they're the people who are calling support people. They're the people who are, doing weird things in your account that we got to clean up data with. And I don't like loud customers. I said that wrong. I like to build product for customers that are quiet. Which is kind of smart, right? I have thousands of people that use this thing that don't talk to us ever, and it works perfectly for them. And they're not just quiet people. What we did is we focused our attention on solving their problems. The reason they're quiet is because we've solved those problems, right? Sure, the loud people would probably be quiet if I added some of those features, but sometimes doing that is going to make your quiet customers loud because now you're solving different problems. And so I can really be a jerk sometimes at work when people are saying, hey, we need to do this and this and this, and I'm like, nope, not going to happen. But that's because I'm the guy that says we've got to focus and we've got to do this. And honestly, the neat part about that is I'm always listening to what everybody is saying. I'm always there and I hear it. And everybody, is sharing the ideas and they understand that we need to focus on solving a few specific problems. And we all get together and we talk about it. And someday we'll add a lot more features. And we do add features, but the important thing to note is that you need to make sure you're building features for the people that aren't going to call you every day, because that is a distraction. You also, going back to the slide with the babies and the blue glasses, know who you are, right? So we are a company that focuses on getting the most out of someone's current customer base, right? We have a lot of people ask us, well, can you do prospecting and can you do this and that? And that's not really who we are, right? The problem is there's not enough software out there to focus on current customers. And so that's what we do, right? We don't necessarily do the prospecting because there's a billion solutions for that out there. And our quiet customers like what we have. Next. The last thing that I want to talk about is employees. And I like to say employees are your partners, especially when it comes to a small company like us. We're very transparent about goals that we have, about where we are with revenue, about how many customers we have when we're losing them, and that type of thing. So a few stories to tell. When we first started, I was the only developer. Now we have a couple, which is great, and a couple including myself, or plus myself. But developers are also expensive. Man, that's a recurring theme with companies is they cost a lot of money to run. But everybody in the office knew that we needed help with software development. We could have said, okay, it's time to go raise some money. Let's go do this because we need developers to build these features. But then we thought, you know what? Let's be doers. So we talked to our team and we said, guys, I know this is a lot to ask, but we need X number of sales. And if we get that within this period of time, we can hire a developer. And when we hire a developer, we're going to be able to do this and this and this and this, which is going to help us get this many sales over the next year. And they were like, all right, let's do it, Torey, let's do this. And we had the best month ever after that month. And we exceeded that goal in like 6 weeks, and I think we gave the team 8 weeks to do it. The cool part about that is everybody felt like they were contributing to the growth of the company and really felt part of it. Like they felt what I felt every day. They felt that they know that we need revenue to pay salaries. And when we brought that person on and we told them that story, they felt awesome too. They felt, man, everybody kind of came together to bring me here and to build this software together. This is awesome. I love this. And so we continue to do that day over day over day. Whenever we have a new piece of equipment that we need, or and some of the equipment that we need is really expensive. Like it takes a lot of sales to get some of these things, right? And everybody, they look at that big machine and they're like, I did that. And that is awesome. It feels really good. The other thing I wanted to share, that's Sylvia on the left there, and you can barely see it on the wall there, but there's a track. It's a little Rube Goldberg device that we put together. And the neat thing is you put a little marble on top. Every time we get a sale, you put a marble in the top, and it goes down and falls the track, and then it goes down into this tube. And every salesperson has a different color of a marble. And that track is right in the middle of the office. Well, that's our old office. So it used to be right in the middle of the office. And everybody can see when a new sale happens, they go up and they put the marble in, and it goes down the track, and everybody's cheering. It's awesome. It's a really neat thing. But what's cool about that is every salesperson has a different color, and everybody wants to be on top, and everybody wants to have more of their color in that tube. So the cool part about that is you can see individually, each salesperson can see individually how they're doing and how they're contributing, but then we'll put our goals as a marker on that tube. So they can also see how they're contributing overall as a team to reach that goal. Sylvia is not a salesperson. She's actually the first support person that we hired. And she's really super excited because she got a demo and she made a sale, the first call on that demo, so she got to put a marble in of her own color. So she was pretty excited about that. Then this last picture, yeah, that's me in the back being all dorky. But this is every Thursday we have a little team meeting. and we have Matthew's wife, Kristen, bring in a home-cooked meal for everybody. And she, we kind of sit down, we have a lunch, and we talk about all the different goals and things. We call it Tech Teas because it started with just talking about some technology tool at the time. But this is a really important time for us because we talk about all of the goals and things that we have going on. And I'll be like, hey guys, we did really great this month with these sales, and but we need to do this different or this different. And remember, focus. We have a great product to sell. Let's sell that, not something we don't have. And that's my team meeting. So I just thought I would end on this slide because I love my team. I think they're all fantastic, and they are what put me up on this stage with this T-shirt so I can pay my mortgage. So thank you very much for having me. I don't know if we're doing any questions or not during this. I'm certainly available for questions, or if anybody wants to chat with me after, I'll be here for a little bit. So again, thank you so much for having me. I really had fun up here, and it's awesome that you're all doers.
We are doing questions, Torey.
Oh.
There are 2 microphones in the room, so if you have questions, please raise your hand, and Brian or I will walk those mics over.
Question over here.
Did your book sales significantly help fund your venture?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Did your book sales significantly help fund your venture?
No, not directly. I mean, we didn't get a lot of revenue from the book. You saw we were selling it for $4.99. So we didn't get a lot of revenue, but it wasn't about the revenue. It was about the connections that it made, which is phenomenal, right? People read the book. They saw us. They invited us to come speak. There's times where I came to do a presentation with this many people, and everybody here got a book. And I gave them the books. Actually, no, they paid for the books. But I sold it at cost because I didn't want to actually spend the money on the paper. But they bought the books. But then that was like me having to lead every single one of the people in here. Yes?
So I don't know if you've seen, have you seen a lot of competition in what you're doing? So you figured out how to do something new, but now others might want to jump in. And did you ever have a moment of thinking, oh gosh, if we weren't bootstrapping, we could go faster than the competition?
Yes, and yes. Of course there's competition, and you know what? I love it because we do different things. We do things that nobody's thought of. And you know what I like to say is anybody can copy what we're doing today, but they'll never be able to do what we're going to do tomorrow. Because we're always thinking about something new and something better that's coming. And I love when people are chasing us because it feels really good. It validates things. And you know what? We are creating the story. So when they create a product that sells our story, it's awesome. They don't realize it, but they're marketing for me. Now, have I thought, can we accelerate it with investor money? I have thought that, but money doesn't accelerate us. Getting things done accelerates us, and right now we don't need money to get things done. Yes, one back here.
You've done really well in insurance. Have you ever thought about some adjacent verticals that you might want to pursue?
Hang on. Do I have my slides up? No.
Can I drop the mic for you? Would that be appropriate? We'll just drop it right there.
Yeah.
You said you're a developer and a founder. How do you manage that?
Has anybody ever done a sensory deprivation tank? That's how I manage it. It's a lot of work, but it's also, really good because when I'm creating software or I'm building designs, I don't have to go tell a design team what I want. I just build it. And so sometimes I look at it like I can save time. But we're getting to a point where I'm starting to focus on other things, and we're bringing more people into focus on those. But I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous about that because I think that when you use Rocket Referrals, there's a lot of Torey in there, right? And so it's really important for me to make sure that as we're bringing people on, that they bring out what they can, right? But they understand our philosophy of design and what we're doing. And so building that culture is what I'm scared of as I start to step away from some of those things. But we'll figure it out.
It's a long walk.
Oh, sorry.
Hang in there.
How long was it before you started hiring extra employees, and particularly extra developers?
I'm not sure of the amount of time. What I can say is we did it when we needed it. And the interesting thing is, in fact, Carl and I just the other day went back and we looked at all of the projections that we made when we said, hey, we were going to raise money and we're going to hire people here and here and here, and we needed this amount of money to do it. We achieved every single one of those things based off of revenue. So we set all of those projections and then we did it, but we did it with revenue dollars, and we hired the people that we needed when it came time. So for support, when a support person is staying, 10 hours a day, that's a really good indication that maybe we need to look at building something to make their job a little easier or hire another person. And then for a developer, it is, well, I'm going to the sensory deprivation tank like 4 times a week. I think it's time to get another developer in. So it was really based off a need rather than time frame, because sometimes when you just try and follow a time frame, you just are doing things because you said you were going to do them, and things change. And instead, you should be doing things because you need to do them, not because you said you were going to a long time ago.
You seem very focused on the being focused aspect of your business. So do you think that ever gets in the way of future innovation?
I guess not. Do you think it would? You asked the question like it could? I like to have discussions, so I'm sorry.
Well, you know your business
Yeah.
a lot more
Yeah.
a lot better than I do, obviously, but I would just think that in order to expand, you'd have to kind of have at least a small focus group or something that would maybe branch off and think of potential directions at the company.
Well, yeah. So actually, you brought up a really good point there when you said, if I would like to expand. I look at it a little different. I don't think that we expand. I think that our customers expand us, right? So the more customers we get, the bigger we become. I can't create customers, but what I can do, the way that we're getting quiet customers and people that pay us money without talking to us every week is by attracting people that use what we have. And I think that that's how we're profitable and how we have revenue. And I'm, I guess, a little bit different. I don't look at success by how many employees we have or, that type of thing. I look at how much revenue we have. And I don't care about how many customers I have. I care about how much money I can make off of customers. No. I shouldn't say that. They understand that we have to make money from them to build better product, right? But, we're just a little different. We're always trying to look at things from a little bit different perspective because I think that makes you a different company. and you stand out a little bit more. Hopefully you guys go back to, and you think, man, remember that Torey guy who was up on stage and had a completely different view on all these things and is the opposite of everything I've ever heard? That's awesome. He made me stand up and tell you how to do her like an idiot. I call myself an idiot, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, when you explained that you collected the money before the product, it sounded like you did crowdfunding. And how were you able to get those clients lined up? What strategy did you use?
Yeah, so we just called them up and talked to them. And we went to their office and knocked on doors. We're a B2B company, so businesses' contact information is kind of easy to get. I mean, they want you to call them. They might think that they're going to sell insurance to you, and then you flip the tables and sell them something, and it's kind of fun, actually. So I didn't even know there was this thing called crowdfunding when we did it, right? We just did it because we thought it was a good idea. So, and B2B software is a little bit more expensive, so I could just get a handful of clients and help pay it. I didn't have to get hundreds of thousands of, consumers. So a little different. I love B2B stuff. I don't think anybody who has a B2C company, you're amazing. I don't know how you do it because that would be incredibly difficult in my mind.
So if you can explain a little bit more about your product. It's not very clear what you do. I know that you have a site.
Yeah.
And you give the referrals through the site, or what exactly your software does? Briefly within.
Tell you what, I can
lines.
answer that after because I don't want to put everybody through that. But basically, what we do is we help our customers communicate with their customers in a way that drives more referrals, gets them to stay longer, so more retention, and also cross sales, so they buy more product. Thank you.
Thank you, Torey.